Drew DeArmond, 97.7 The Zone, Talking Ball, 9 until noon. Drew DeArmond, you're on with Ryan Fowler and AP Stedham here. We're talking in Destin. I hope you're doing well, Drew.
Doing well. Always good to speak with you, Ryan. I know you're live in Destin, Florida. Always good to connect with AP Stedham as well, a guy that's basically a Where's Waldo, man. If there's something going on with the SEC in Alabama, you're going to see AP Stedham somewhere. He will be there in the front row. He's an amazing guy.
Hey, that's why I've connected with him, man. I've traveled more with AP in the last 3 or 4 years than I think I've ever traveled.
Hey, Drew.
I'll just let, hey, AP, how you doing, man? I just going to let you know I just connected with a good friend of yours on Facebook. Social media is a funny thing. We've been kind of messaging back and forth, but just connected with Emily Rudder. She kind of runs around. I was joking with her. She kind of gave me a little bit of her backstory, and I said, you're the female AP Stedham. I said, basically, from what you're telling. So you're always at the happening event. So it's good to connect with her, and it's always good to be on the air with you, man.
Yeah, has AP never invited you on the private jet that he has?
No, I've never seen the Arnold.
That's how he gets. That's how he gets every. That's how we get all over the place. Man, and one of these days, maybe he'll invite you.
Yeah, absolutely. I need to see the AP Stedham plane, man. That would be something.
All right, so we're talking about grad transfers, gambling, Joe Namath, Tua Tagovailoa, and above. Where you want to go first? You want to go gambling? You want the A curtain, the B, or the C, or the D? Gambling, grad transfers, or Joe Willie Namath? Which one will you choose?
Well, I thought the grad transfer deal with, of course, Kirby Smart talking about that yesterday. Mr. Freeze. Smart. Of course he's going to want the rule changed and have it waived and let somebody transfer. Within the conference because he's already tampered one time along with Mel Tucker and poisoned Maurice Smith to the point where he transferred and was at the University of Georgia.
No, Drew, you're wrong. You're wrong. Kirby Smart told us on Tuesday that he's never recruited someone at another college.
Yeah, well, I'd like to have him hooked up to a lie detector. I wonder if he'd have done that.
He said
he never negatively recruited either, right? He's never negatively recruited. He's never told the kid that Nick Saban was about to retire, correct?
He said he would never do that. He would never do that. He thinks Coach Saban's going to coach forever. That's what he said.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that now.
Matter of fact, Drew, maybe Marquise can pull up the audio, and we can just play the audio of Kirby Smart. Maybe we'll get that in the second segment. All right, so continue. I'm sorry I distracted you, but I know this guy loves Kirby Smart.
It's ironic you would say that. That certainly wasn't the tune he was singing 6 months ago before he got his ass whipped.
Well, the FCC may get us for that.
Drew, tell us what you really think.
Well, trust me, guys. I'll just go ahead and put it on the air. I just like Kirby Smart more than Gus Malzahn, okay? I know everybody knows I'm an Alabama guy, and I cover the Crimson Tide. And certainly I cover Auburn on my show, and, you have to respect everybody within the SEC, but everybody knows that Alabama's biggest rival has always been historically the Auburn Tigers, followed closely second by the Tennessee Vols. Kirby Smart rapidly is probably going to become as despised by the Alabama nation as Philip Fulmer was back in the day. Of course, but in order for that to happen, though, Kirby Smart has to beat Alabama. Hopefully, no disrespect to the former athletic director at the University of Alabama, but that it may be that hopefully Kirby Smart will have about as much success against Nick Saban as Bill Battle did against Coach Bryant.
Wow. Drew, what did Kirby do to you, man?
I don't like two-faced people, man. Let's just put it like that. Don't like guys that don't respect where they come from and that pay. And he's now trying to kind of do some recon and go back and try to mend some fences, probably, especially through the media, and of course give Nick Saban the compliments he deserves. But that's certainly not the way he's handled himself since he got to Georgia. I understand it's a business and you're trying to win, but some of the things he's done, it's been well documented. It's been proven. He took a picture of the recruiting board. Some of the tactics he's taken in recruiting, don't really appreciate. He's already got a lot of inherent advantages at Georgia. I mean, he's in a talent-rich state, and he's a Georgia boy. He's a former great all-SEC safety at Georgia. He learned under the master, Nick Saban. I think he could win without having to do that, but, sometimes insecurities do that to people. And being ambitious. I mean, certainly he wants to be the guy to get the torch passed when Nick Saban does finally retire, but sometimes it goes back and it bites you. I know it did with Antonio Alfano. He continually brought up Georgia and compared them to Alabama, and then Antonio Alfano realized, well, why would I want an invitation when I can go to Tuscaloosa and be with the best program in the country?
No, yeah, I don't know. I think he might have said that on this show. He said he didn't want to go to a replica program. All right, so here we go. All right, so I'm going to play the Kirby Smart audio. Drew, you're under a censorship, okay? We got to keep our station. All right, so we don't want you to give commentary to this, okay? So I don't want you to go blankety blank. Okay, so let's do it together, okay, Drew? Take a deep breath, okay? Breathe in.
I'm good.
Breathe out. Okay, breathe in. Breathe out. Now let's play the clip here from Kirby Smart. This is Kirby Smart telling us what I told you just a couple of minutes ago.
That's up to Nick. I think Nick's in great health. I played pickup basketball with him for 20 years, it felt like. I mean, he takes care of himself. He plays a lot of golf. He's very healthy. I mean, people ask me that question. I think he's going to coach as long as he wants to because he's competitive. He doesn't want to do anything else, and he's good at what he does. So if a kid asks me that, I'm like, he may coach forever because he's probably going to outlive me the way he takes care of his body. So I don't. I think that's to each his own. And negative recruiting, to me, never works on the kind of kids and the people you want in your program. Because if they're listening to that and they buy into that, they're probably a little gullible. Where I would much rather just be very honest and open because you attract better quality people who respect the fact that you respect the other people in your league.
All right, Drew, there it is, Kirby Smart. What do you think?
I think that's Liar Liar Part 2. I wonder if he's Jim Carrey's other brother, Daryl.
Hey, but did you notice how they asked him? Okay, they didn't ask him whether he did. They asked him what he thought about other coaches using it against Nick Saban. He was almost like guilty as charged. In other words, did you kill him? Did you kill the guy? Or who are you talking about? Joe Smith, the guy that got killed? I mean, it's like he describes the murder scene. He said, I would never. They didn't ask him if you did. They asked him what you thought about other people doing it. You just told off on yourself, Kirby Smart.
Yeah, well, I know Arnold and yourself were probably there when you took that audio. I just wonder, was his nose growing?
A little bit. A little bit. Well, because he was getting nervous because Nick was about to walk in literally 2 minutes after.
He was right behind him.
Yeah, Nick was right behind him. Yeah. But let me tell you what old Nick did, okay? And this is a little inside story, okay? So Nick come up with this excuse, okay? Because Kirby was Nick was opening for Kirby. So Nick was 12:15, Kirby Smart was 12:30, and somehow Nick postponed it. He got Kirby to go earlier and Nick to go. Nick went after. So there was nothing he said. He went literally he shut down the message. It's like the recruit, and then Nick gets the last visit. It was perfect. Nick Saban masterfully pulled that off. But so yeah, he was nervous because Nick was about to walk in the door.
Well, I would be too if the Godfather was about to walk in, and the reason that I was where I was in my career, especially after what I know how I've really acted in the whole situation. But again, the whole way it ended was poetic justice, and they can go ahead and continue to sell their Herschel Walker retro jerseys and remaster all those old VHS tapes and films into DVDs and stuff because they still haven't won a national championship. Yeah, they're the SEC champions, but as UCF and everybody else in the country has figured out, Alabama's the real dynasty. They're the national champions, and they earned it on the field. It was a great football game, and I think Alabama, the scary thing is I think they're only going to get better, and I think they're going to be supremely talented and well-coached. And I think, we say this every year, it seems like. It's like a broken record, but it seems like every year Nick Saban puts together an even better coaching staff, and I think he's put together his best recruiting staff yet. And, all that's going to mean is that Alabama, Rodney Orr is an extremely respected voice, and, we're
Sure
all
he
good
is.
friends with Rodney. When Rodney Orr comes, posts on his website that he thinks Nick Saban's best team has yet to be seen at Alabama, that's saying something.
Well, and then you combine with the schedule. This schedule, you're going to have to fight complacency. You're going to have to fight complacency. Other than that, Alabama's got an easy type road to get back to Atlanta.
Yeah, they do. It's probably one of their most, as far as lining up and the way the schedule, the home dates, and the road games. Unless Joe Burrow really is a top tier QB in the SEC, right now this schedule really sets up well for Alabama. I completely agree with you.
All right, so let me ask you. I even feel like AP. I don't even want to ask him about anything else. I mean, he's already mastered the interview. I got about 30 seconds here. We're talking about Joe Willie Namath here in Tuscaloosa, celebrating his 75th birthday. Can Tua Tagovailoa be the next great passing quarterback at the University of Alabama?
Yes, he will be up there in his career should he stay healthy. It'll be Joe Willie Namath, Kenny Stabler, A.J. McCarron, and Tua Tagovailoa. And I don't know what order you'll put them in, but they'll all be in that kind of rarefied air. I think he has a chance to be Alabama's third Heisman Trophy winner. The first, Heisman Trophy winner as a quarterback. And I think he has a chance to break the mold and be the first rounder at QB, I believe, since Richard Todd in the early 70s. And to be a starting quarterback. Now, A.J. McCarron is getting that opportunity now, but I think Tua Tagovailoa, I think I told you an absurd stat, Ryan, that Nick Saban's had first-round draft choices at every position at Alabama, but quarterback, place kicker, and punter, and that's about to change with quarterback because I think Tua Tagovailoa is going to break that mold.
Well, Drew, AP and I really appreciate the conversation. Hopefully we won't have any dog fans, but I will say this. You know what Joe Willie Namath calls Georgia?
What?
The Mutts.
The Mutts. You got to love Joe Willie, the one and only, arguably the greatest athlete in Alabama football history, especially before the knee injuries. He could do any kind of dunk you wanted. He could have been a professional baseball player, guy that played both ways at Alabama. And played in an era when they really didn't throw the football a lot, but I heard AP talking about this, and I completely agree. There was probably nobody with as much arm talent as Joe Willie. And another underrated thing about Joe is his football IQ. He was basically his own offensive coordinator. And one of these days, if I'm ever lucky enough to stay in this business, I'd like to interview Joe and ask him about that. But he was one of the great football guys of all time, and just somebody that was bigger than life, and he was one of those rarities. He could talk the talk and walk the walk, and there's only one Joe Willie Namath. And whenever you say Joe Willie in the state of Alabama, or even around the world, everybody knows who you're talking about. And Joe's just a great representative of the University of Alabama.